Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable. Forbes India, CNBC TV 18 present India Inc. on the Move. Sustainable Manufacturing. Powered by Rockwell Automation.
In our previous episodes, we delve into the realm of sustainable manufacturing, uncovering its remarkable potential for transformation. Get ready for an exciting new episode of India Inc. on the Move, powered by Rockwell Automation, brought to you by Forbes India and CNBC TV 18. The event brought together prominent figures and stakeholders from the manufacturing sector for a full-day conclave, sparking a dialogue to reshape the manufacturing industry. Through immersive panel discussions and video demo playout, they shared profound insights and strategies with the common goal of positioning India as a leader in sustainable manufacturing. Building upon the insightful dialogue, Gautam Srinivasan hosted a distinguished panel of industry leaders and stakeholders focusing on the lighthouse of the fourth industrial revolution.
When we look at the Lighthouse Initiative, it's a wonderful initiative. It's already covered, I believe, 132 companies, and that's just the start. We're just scratching the surface, and in India too, you're finding great reception. I want to talk more about this partnership which has emerged between WEF and McKinsey, especially on this Lighthouse Initiative. Take us through the contours, and how do you see it driving adoption for Industrial Revolution 4.0 technology?
Let me go a little backwards, maybe 4 or 5 years when this concept started. I think the concept started in one of the Davos World Economic Forum meet, which was on the backdrop of a study which McKinsey did, which we said the pilot purgatory of Industry 4.0, which actually showed while 70 to 75% of the COOs are aware of Industry 4.0, only very small percentage have tried that, and only around 3 to 4% have what we called pilot purgatory, have been able to scale up beyond what we call pilots. And that's when this thought process came in. Can we create a community of organization who are actually being able to scale up? They literally become Lighthouse. The Lighthouse name was given literally Lighthouse, which will show the beacon of light to everyone else. People can visit them, people can actually interact and learn what are the loopholes to be covered. And that's where that entire initiative came in. I just want to say the two things. In the last 5 years, you mentioned 132. There are 132 manufacturing lighthouses. There are 13 sustainability lighthouses. India was a little late in the bus, by the way. 3 years back, we had only 2 lighthouses. Today, we have 10 lighthouses. Many more in the lined up, right? That just shows that how this initiative has created a right set of conversation, help the people to actually go for I4.0 and see how others are getting benefits and then do it for themselves.
From the representatives that we have here, we have a major pharma player here, a major metals player here, and of course, a major consumer player. So we'll bring out those use cases. But before that, Scott, let me come to you. The timing of where we are and why this is such a crucial moment, especially for Industrial 4.0 technologies and the applications that it brings about. Your broad perspective, your enabler perspective from Rockwell Automation.
So I think if we wound the clock back 3 years, we were saying that Industry 4.0 digitization was in an early adopter stage, as we heard in pilot purgatory. So people were stuck in pilots and they weren't able to deploy. And we saw Industry 4.0 as a 10-year horizon around technology adoption. And at the heart of it, Industry 4.0 is around driving business productivity, business sustainability, and addressing use cases. Part of that can be enabled through digitization, but that wasn't the only intent of Lighthouses. It was around driving that more productive, more sustainable, best practice example of how to be a modern manufacturer.
Typically seen as lagging when it comes to using technology, and there are still a lot of gaps, let's say whether it's clinical research or drug development. So take us through the challenges that, say, Cipla went through, which resulted in this acceleration of adoption of Industry 4.0 technologies, whether it comes to a process perspective or just a broader business perspective. Your view on these, Sandeep?
I think the story started with reimagining the operations. It is much before the COVID, and COVID really forced us to think little differently and what scale we are working. So at part of reimagining operations, we thought that as an organization, what disruptive thing we can bring into the organizations. And so the challenge was that a most competitive market, right? The price erosions, we are in a market, but with the cost pressure or the price erosion, it forces us to think little totally different. In 3 years back, you also seen that everyone faced through the API challenge, right? Sourceability of the API, certain key raw materials, and the pricing of API has increased multifold, 30-40% prices, and it has an impact on the formulation. And to how we can become more competitive in the market, we decided we choose, let's say, Indo 4 as an advanced lighthouse manufacturing, and I'm proud that we got an approval last year on the 9th May of 2022 as an advanced lighthouse manufacturing from World Economic Forum.
Keeping pace with the challenges, Anubhav, from a consumer giant perspective with many lines of businesses, take us through the challenges that you went through, which accelerated the adoption of IR 4.0 technology.
Before I start talking about the challenges, it is also important to understand the background of our factory CCT, which got this accreditation. So when we started this factory produces the mass SKUs and the critical price sensitive SKUs for the Mondelez India business, which means that, margin protection remains a key. You can't increase price, you have to, reduce your cost to protect your margins. The other aspect is our factory is in an industrial area where attrition is a huge problem. So almost say 25-30% is the average attrition that you will see in the industrial area. We do a lot better than that, but still, it is high versus compared to any other factories that we might have. And to be honest, we were not there where we wanted to be from an equipment efficiency or losses point of view. So in particular, these three things, being produced, because we are producing price sensitive SKUs, hence protecting the margin, ensuring that we have digital solutions to ensure that the reskilling of any new workforce which joins because of the high attrition, we have them reskilled as early as possible. And the third thing around delivering better equipment efficiencies and losses is what pushed us for the Industry 4.0 transformation.
When we look at introduction of digital or Industrial Revolution 4.0 technologies, Jagdish, take us through the journey and the challenges that Hindalco had faced, and which led to this accelerated adoption of digital.
I think our challenge is going to be building capability. And second question we are asking, do you want to build one lighthouse factory, or do you want to take the entire Hindalco up the value chain? And we have chosen the second by choice. That's our choice. We are not in a hurry to create one model lighthouse and let all others just down the drain. So we have consciously made a choice that we will do something where database decision becomes a DNA of the organization. So we are focusing very, very heavily on identifying people who are young, digitally native, and savvy. We made them digital ambassadors. And in the first 2 years, we created 80 of them, 85 of them, across all the plants, and we let them experiment. We said, here is the technology, here is the money, and you choose the partners and experiment. We actually learned a lot of lessons in the first 2 years of what technology works, what doesn't work, what are the good use cases. We actually zeroed in on a few use cases at the end of year 2.
The Rockwell Automation team delivered a captivating demonstration and video playback showcasing the implementation of smart and sustainable manufacturing in action, powered by the connected enterprise.
So what I'm going to demonstrate is on the energy manager and the sustainability. How are we tracking on the energy for every utility which is around the electricity, steam, as well as the air, gas, and the electricity. So what we are showing here is how for my enterprise, the consumption varies from one asset to another asset, one process to another process, as well as from one site to another site. So what I'm getting is the enterprise view, and it is helping me to navigate that what are my critical points and where should I focus for reducing my energy consumption. So that's what we are talking about in this particular demo. And what you are seeing on the screen is, the enterprise view, which tells you that which site from your enterprise is consuming more in terms of cost for each of these utilities. So if I do a deep dive and talk about the next tab, right? So it tells me more about what is happening in my site A or site 1, which is at one geographical location, how my utilities are distributed in terms of air, electricity, steam, and water. And I have some interactive charts wherein I can play with the charts and see where are my losses or leakages or what are my improvement opportunities. So that's what I look at for my site. And I can also plan my scheduling basis the demand which is there for the utility. I can have the consumption, or I can have the production to be scheduled so that I get the rebate for my energy consumptions, and that's how I manage my demand during the peak hours. So that's what I get a detailed view on the site. And if I deep dive in that particular site, then what I'm able to see is how my assets are performing individually. What is my energy consumption? What is, if I select in the drop down, I am able to see that what is the electricity, again the steam, air, and gases consumption for each of my assets. What is the cost I'm spending for each of the asset, the utility-wise cost. And I'm also able to see the details of each of my assets, whether it is healthy, non-healthy, so all of those alerts I'm able to see.
Continuing the momentum of the demonstration, Ronnie Butcher from Rockwell Automation took center stage to reveal the intricacies of a cyber attack through a compelling demonstration.
We are going to present to you today how attack is being done on the OT environment from one hand, okay? And how is our services of detection is being made on the same time. So we'll start the video. I will explain what we have here, okay? So we have on the left high corner, okay, we have our SOC alerts, okay? On the right side, we have our attacker. On the lower right side, we see in general alerts that we are getting. We wouldn't be focused on that area. And here on the left side, we are seeing all the HMI, how it looks from the point of view of operation. So the attacker entered a USB machine, as I said, a Raspberry Pi into the network. And he's starting in the first phase, sniffing the traffic. He's just listening to see what he can capture. While he's doing that, in a second, you will see that it's starting to get credentials. All these numbers that you see that it's written here are encrypted password. He's taking this encrypted password, enter that into his notepad, and running a tool called Hashcat in order to crack that, okay? In a few minutes, we'll see that in addition to that, we are seeing the port scan, and here we have an incident that we are calling the customer and saying that we detected an incident. While we are focusing on the alerts, on the other side, the attacker is continuing to do his work, okay? What he's going to do is going to check if the Active Directory is vulnerable. So he'll use the user that he got, the regular user that he got, and he will run the attack over the Active Directory. While he's doing that, on the left side, you can see that we are seeing multiple port scans that have been done by his machine. So the next step after he got access into the Active Directory, what he is aiming to do is aiming to take the Daniel user, which is non-privileged user in the environment, and enter that into a privileged user of the engineering. Of course, here we'll stop the attack. We stopped the attack even before, but in order to show you what an attacker can do, we are continuing with the attack. So now he's getting into the engineering station, okay? He will load this code into the engineering station. This code, what it's going to do is going to change the configuration over the PLC. Why it's going to do that? He wants to do a ransom attack on your PLCs. Now we can see that it's running the attack. You can see all the files were encrypted. You can see on the left screen that we detected the configuration upload into the PLC, okay? And we know that the PLC was impacted.
Coming up next, the Rockwell team captivated the audience with an insightful presentation on how augmented reality can empower the digital workforce.
So traditionally, whatever methodologies or whatever instructions that we have on a PDF are converted into a digital format using augmented reality. So the 2D PDF could be your manufacturing guidelines, it can be your inspection guidelines, it can be your user manuals. Any 2D traditional methods can be actually digitized using these kind of technologies. I'll play a video here wherein we are completely transforming how somebody is doing training from an augmented reality device. So here you can see there is a particular operator who is trying to work upon a particular machine. And in this machine, he is wearing the HoloLens, where we are using augmented reality to guide him through the particular processes. So there are multiple steps. We are taking him through step-by-step procedures in which he can do the operation on that machine. We are showing him what are the tools that are required to do that particular operation. Not just the tools, any supporting documents, including the spec sheets, including other videos, photographs, any documents and the sequences which will help him to do his work better can be incorporated into the augmented reality scenario. We can also show internal workings of the machine. So when somebody is working on an actual machine, he understands whatever he is doing on the outside, what is the impact that is having inside the machine also.
Forbes India, CNBC TV 18 present India Inc. on the Move. Sustainable Manufacturing. Powered by Rockwell Automation. Forbes India, CNBC TV 18 present India Inc. on the Move. Sustainable Manufacturing. Powered by Rockwell Automation.
Moderated by Mukta Kalra, an esteemed panel of experts engaged in a valuable conversation on the automotive industry and its significance in automating India's growth story.
Anshul, if I may start with you. Manufacturing, plant setting, that has been your area of work. What has been the digital transformation journey there? And what have you noticed in the last 4 or 5 years change in the industry?
When we talk about digital transformation, it applies in multiple ways to a business. You can talk about how does digital transformation affects my products. For example, today we talk about connected cars or connected trucks, which means what is the benefit of having a connected car to my end user? Can the end user make more money, or can he or she run his or her business more efficiently with connected cars or connected trucks? So that's the one level of digital transformation. Second level of digital transformation could be the business model itself, which means how do you actually sell your products or services to the consumer. So we talked about business model, we talked about the products. The third level is the IoT in manufacturing processes. And I believe most of us are still at that level, wherein we're trying to figure out how to run the factories better, how to have the machines in the factory connect to each other so we are able to make decisions which otherwise would have been not possible to take. So I would say what I have seen change is understanding of this at 3 different levels. However, we still need to graduate to the business model level. We are probably still, at least in Daimler, we are still at the process level.
So boss, SKF's journey has been phenomenal. You are market leaders with significant market share, and you've always tried to move before and beyond the industry. Several disruptions have happened in the industry as a whole. What are some of the major challenges that you have encountered in the SKF journey?
All right. So if I would put in terms of SKF journey, right? I would just I'm sure everybody here knows SKF mainly for bearings, lubrication systems. Now, when you talk about bearings, a lot of those bearings are now considered a commodity. It's just a product within the entire system, which, most of the times you go to the customers, they would probably wait and say that this is what it should cost, right? But at the same time, when you talk about SKF, we have always been known for certain specific performance parameters in terms of, the life of the bearings, the performance in terms of the friction, and so on. So these are some of the things which differentiates us from the other market. And in order to keep us differentiated. There has been a continuous rigor on what is that we need to put next into the bearings. With the market transitioning towards digitalization, markets adopting EVs, a lot of these are putting opening up opportunities for us to contribute to this growth journey.
Arvind, smart manufacturing. We love the word smart manufacturing. What does it actually mean for a lot of industries? And what is the cost of this smart manufacturing? Is it affordable? How easy is it to adopt? And what is the future looking like for most industries when we talk about this word? Do we understand it completely?
Automotive is the biggest component within manufacturing in India, right? It contributes to the largest job creation from that point of view. From a complexity point of view, there are 30,000 parts that go into manufacturing a car. So that means it's a very complex supply chain situation as well. So a lot of dynamics, play into that. Now transition from ICE to EV, those kind of discussions are going on. The market is moving towards that. We have commitments as a country on those kind of things. So there are larger dynamics involved in terms of what is happening in the industry. Now, we can go up to a certain level when we go with the traditional methods of manufacturing, but to scale up to be very competitive in the market and as a country and as an industry, we need to be very smart around the operations, which means, what are the key components? Now, typical elements would be production, planning, control, quality, which again goes into cost part of the equation. How do you make them competitive as well? And all of those devices on the manufacturing shop floor have to be connected, first of all. They have to be then expanded to a cell level or a line level and going to the larger manufacturing plants overall. Also, if there are much more larger complex operations, people having multiple manufacturing plants across the country, exporting, there is a supply chain equation at the back end. I talked about so many components going into the car manufacturing. So that is my take overall, setting in a very simplified way on impact on the customers, and larger issue or mandate, for us as an industry is much more beneficial for us, and we can do much more, with smart manufacturing.
Sustainable manufacturing today is, let's look at three things. One is safe, smart, and sustainable factories. We call it as 3S, right? Now, manufacturing sustainability towards today is about more, how do you bring innovation to the shop floor and then include the sustainability as a part of your regular manufacturing?
I think events like this, which Rockwell and Forbes have brought together, are really helpful because they bring in a very diverse community. And when you kind of meet with diverse community and you meet thought leaders across industries, that's when you realize that at the end of the day, the problems that you're facing are very similar. And though you're looking at it from different angles, at the end of the day, the way you go about solving these problems is very commonsensical and has a very strong connect between across industries. So I think that's, and these kind of forums help you connect with more such people, more such like-minded people. And I think that's hugely beneficial.
With this, we conclude the final episode of India Inc. On the Move Sustainable Manufacturing, powered by Rockwell Automation. Through dynamic panel discussions, insightful guest lectures, and engaging video demonstrations, the conclave advanced the discourse on sustainability and the integration of digitization in manufacturing processes.
Forbes India, CNBC TV 18 present India Inc. On the Move Sustainable Manufacturing, powered by Rockwell Automation. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.